get comfy, because The Mandalorian Season 2 is chock full of surprises, and perhaps the biggest surprise of them all. For those of you who've seen it, you'll probably know what I'm talking about. That's right, they finally gave Grogu his proper name. No more of this calling him by Baby Yoda. That's bullshit. Because you know how misleading the Baby Yoda name even is. So this is the last time I'm gonna address it. He is Grogu, and only Grogu. This guy is not, in fact, that guy. Please get it right. What's going on, y'all, and welcome back to yet another brand new installment of TV Thoughts. As always, y'all, I thank you all so much for stopping by and clicking on the video, and I really hope you enjoy your stay. But this time around, yes, we are all looking at Season 2 of The Mandalorian, the series that many have argued has saved Star Wars. And that's not just an argument or opinion, that's actually scientific fact. That is the only opinion you can have on The Mandalorian, because it is a correct opinion. I joke, but this show has given this franchise the true kick that it's needed lately. And it's brought it to a new level of awesome, while also showcasing this brand new awesome method of showcasing all of its content to its viewers. And Pedro Pascal, of course, returns as the masked title character, and this season follows him and little Grogu going on various journeys together once again. And they're facing old enemies like Moff Gideon, played once again by Giancarlo Esposito, and rallying allies old and new, such as fellow Mandalorians Bo-Katan and Casca Reeves, played by Katee Sackhoff and Sasha Banks, and the badass Ahsoka Tano, played by Rosario Dawson. All as the makeshift father-son pairing make their way through a dangerous galaxy in the tumultuous era after the collapse of the Empire. So Season 2 was honestly one of my most anticipated releases in all of entertainment this year. In a year that's been up and down, to say the least. This certainly gave me my blockbuster fix and then some. Just to get right down to it, I had an absolute blast watching Season 2. And I would honestly argue that Season 2 was better than Season 1. And before I continue on in this video, just in case you have not delved into this series yet, I'm gonna dig into heavy spoiler territory here. And that includes the insane season finale. So you've been warned. If you haven't seen any of The Mandalorian, please stop the video right here. Go binge through all of it, and then we'll come right back and we'll discuss it. Showrunner Jon Favreau continues to prove why he is one of the most creative and imaginative minds working in Hollywood today. You can tell because his passion for this world is seeping through this writing. And this season, of course, retains a lot of the brilliant technicals that the first season did, including that brilliant writing. It also brings on some returning directors from Season 1 like Rick Famuyiwa, Bryce Dallas Howard. You also have the incredible Dave Filoni, along with Favreau himself. But it's also showcasing the work of new directors in this realm, like Carl Weathers, Robert Rodriguez, and Peyton Reed. And I think each director does a fantastic job of making each episode their own unique creations. Like, honestly, you don't need the credits to tell you which episode belongs to Robert Rodriguez. You can just tell which one is his by looking at it. And these directors make these episodes in such a way that doesn't deviate from the main story, and it never sidetracks into something else completely. And that's especially key in a franchise like Star Wars that is just absolutely fragile right now, especially after the controversy that was the sequel trilogy. Pedro Pascal is, of course, magnificent as the Mandalorian once again. Even though he's wearing a mask for most of the time, they get across a lot with this character, even if he's not showing tons of emotion with the facial expressions. It's all mostly in his physical movements, and when he does unmask, he never drops the essence of who this character is. He is extremely disciplined, and I think that comes across perfectly when he's forced to unmask next to Mayfeld, played by Bill Burr from the first season. Once again, phenomenal, by the way. Watch that whole sequence again. Even with his mask off, Pascal has got the character movements down to a T. And this is an extremely stone-cold character, too. Like, he's starting to remind me, the more I watch him, of an old-school Clint Eastwood spaghetti western. It's an extremely fascinating character to watch, and I can't wait to see more of him in Season 3. And Grogu the Child, I mean, what else is there really to say about him? He's damn cute. I love the whole running joke where they have the frog lady as their passenger, and she's got hundreds of little eggs in that water backpack thing, and Grogu just keeps eating them. And this is a perfect example of how this just feels like such a fleshed out parental relationship that he's created with this thing. Because Mando at first is like, no, don't do that. But I feel like there comes a point in that bit where Grogu is just eating too much of them, and Mando's just like, Screw it. Go ahead. It's so funny, and it's so relatable, too. And as I mentioned, of course, Grogu is the definition of cute, but he's also the definition of a badass in training, and we explore a little more about him this season, using the Force and being, oddly enough, strong with it as well. Bill Burr, I mentioned, is one of the returns from the first season, and we do get a fair amount of them here. Carl Weathers, once again, phenomenal as Grief Karga, such a charmer. Cara Dune is back again, played by certified badass Gina Carano, and she's fine. I don't really have too many issues with her. Character's not overly interesting, but she's cool enough. And of course you get Moff Gideon, played masterfully by Giancarlo Esposito. And he seems to really specialize in these big TV villains, doesn't he? But being a new season, here comes a bevy of brand new characters for this show. Let's talk about Timothy Olyphant first as Cobb Vanth. Such a charmer, my goodness. I'll be honest, I really thought I was gonna hate this guy when I first saw him. But give the man credit where it's due, he won me over. Even though he's only in the premiere episode this season, man, I really thought him and Mando made a great team. It's only one episode, but they build such a simple but strong dynamic relationship between the two. I really hope they bring him back for season 3, because I think he was super fascinating. But spoiler alert incoming, guys. The giant cliffhanger at the end of the premiere episode is the reveal of Boba Fett, played by Temuera Morrison, who is fantastic. It makes me so happy that the most anticlimactic death in cinema history wasn't actually a death scene after all. And there are so many cool moments with him that Robert Rodriguez especially got to play around with. He killed it. How about Katee Sackhoff as Bo-Katan? Another excellent character, and my gosh, this character's introduction is so cool. The fact that there's a giant group of Mandalorians out there just makes me so happy inside. You know what else makes me happy? Seeing current SmackDown Women's Champion Sasha Banks pop up as Casca Reeves. She is a badass, guys. I really hope that we see more of this character in season 3. And she also has a couple of good comedic zingers thrown in there, especially at the finale. She says to Boba Fett in the bar, and I thought sidekicks weren't supposed to talk. It's so great. Plus, I see you pulling out some of those wrestling moves in that combat, Sasha Banks. I see it. I also really loved how Favreau linked up their stories to Moff Gideon holding the Darksaber, the proverbial scepter to the Mandalore. And we do also get to see the Darksaber in action in the season finale, and it looks and sounds awesome in combat. I mean, the possibilities are truly endless with these two. The lore is strong with the Mandalore. And yes, I did rhyme on purpose, but speaking of lore, let's discuss the most hyped part of this season for myself as a big fan of the animated stuff in the Star Wars universe. We finally get to see the live-action version of Ahsoka Tano, played by Rosario Dawson, and she looks incredible. The character is incredible. Her combat is incredible. The lore she brings with her to the series about the Jedi is incredible. Needless to say, she did not let me down, and I am so excited to see so much more out of this character, not just in The Mandalorian, but also in the spin-off series that they announced on Disney Investor Day. And here I was thinking that Ahsoka Tano's episode was the best part of the whole series. Because boy oh boy, this finale sure topped that, didn't it? There's so much to unpack here. I mean, you have the duel for the Darksaber. You have Mando getting the help he needs from his own kind. And you also have Moff Gideon being the usual dickhead that he is. And he's planting the seeds for what could be a Mando Bo-Katan feud. And the way this episode ends, major spoiler up ahead, so if you really don't want to know what happens, this is a really good time to stop the video for right now. But needless to say, they saved their biggest surprise for last. You have the cool looking Dark Troopers who are coming to sabotage the hero's plan, but they are saved by none other than Luke Skywalker. And yes, Luke is played by a de-aged Mark Hamill here, and man, I was so happy to see him. I am so glad Luke was not recast, and his whole sequence with the green lightsaber in the hallway. See, that's the kind of thing about Star Wars that I love. It was like seeing my favorite part of Rogue One all over again, with Darth Vader pummeling all those geeks in the hallway. Except, you know, The Mandalorian is not mediocre. And you know, I really hope that we're gonna get Luke in some more of these series, because he did take Grogu with him to complete his training. And that send-off also with Mando to Grogu was so emotional. I was kind of feeling myself tearing up, I'm not gonna lie. I'm sure we're gonna see these characters again at some point down the line, but for right now, This scene felt like something straight out of Toy Story 3. Almost like Mando was seeing his son off to college. Except Grogu is not nearly old enough to go to college. And guys, I mean... this show just makes me so happy to be a Star Wars fan. As far as issues with Season 2 go, I only really have a couple of small ones. There are some characters from Season 1 like Greef Karga and Cara Dune that feel oddly sidelined this season. Cara Dune does get a little bit more time, especially towards the last couple of episodes, but Carl Weathers' only appearance was in the episode he directed. And I think this season was way more focused on bringing in a lot of these new characters and introducing more of this universe. And it just seems more focused on flat out shocking us that sometimes... I don't know, to me the balance just felt kind of off. Because with all this awesomeness steeping in, these first season characters almost feel like distractions. Which isn't what they were at all a year ago, let's just be frank about that. I guess I just wanted a little bit more balance with this force. Also, I realize I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this down in the comments. I know how Boba Fett got his armor back because Cobb Vanth gave it over to Mando in the premiere. And how Boba Fett gets his armor back was... How do I put this? I, for one, wish it was handled a little bit more swiftly than it was. I wish there was a moment where Boba Fett is actually scouring through Mando's ship, and he actually does come across the armor. But nope, we just get the moment where he shows up in armor out of nowhere to help out Mando against those bad guys. And that's cool and all, but to me, that just felt like a huge plot hole. Speaking of Boba Fett, by the way, stay tuned through the entire runtime of this season finale, because you do get a post-credits scene involving Boba Fett. And let me just say... I am really excited to see what they do with him next year. And besides those little nitpicks that I have, I really dug the crap out of Season 2. As I mentioned at the top, I liked this one just a little bit more than Season 1, and I'm ecstatic to see this universe thriving again. I cannot wait to see where Favreau, Filoni, and all these brilliant minds bring it next. I'm gonna give The Mandalorian Season 2 an A. Star Wars is indeed back. And all these announcements at Disney Investor Day have got me really excited for the future of this universe. And with this finale being the icing on the cake for this season that it was, I mean, this series truly is the way. But do you guys watch The Mandalorian? Do you enjoy it? Do you not? Which was your favorite episode, and what are you looking forward to in Season 3? I'd love to discuss all of those thoughts all down there in the comments below. If you guys are enjoying this content, and if you guys want to continue discussing cinema and all things entertainment with me, you know where I'll be. Please consider hitting that subscribe button down below as hard as you possibly can, because you guys will be the first ones to know anytime I upload a new video over here. And don't tell anyone this, but... it is in fact free. And if you enjoyed this video also, please be sure to leave a big fat thumbs up on your way out. I'd really appreciate that. And as always, look out for more exciting content hitting this channel very, very soon. You guys are awesome. Thank you all so much for your continued support of the channel. Thank you for continuing to watch these videos. And with all that being said, back talk, commence.